Chapter 8. Oliver finds a home at Mr. Brownlow's, but not for long. For a week, Oliver lay seriously ill in Mr. Brownlow's house. He was too ill to know what was happening around him. He knew nothing of the kindness of Mr. Brownlow, who sat for hours at his bedside, and he did not know how carefully Mrs. Badwin, the housekeeper, was looking after him. At last he was able to get up. Mrs. Badwin dressed him in a new suit that Mr. Brownlow had bought. She carried him downstairs to sit by the fire in Mr. Brownlow's room. There he told them his sad story. They were filled with horror. The police must be told, said Mr. Brownlow, but Oliver knows so little about London that he could not say where Fagin's house was. That some evening, Mr. Grimwig, an old friend of Mr. Brownlow's, come to visit him. Mr. Grimwig was a very kind-hearted gentleman, but he liked to pretend that he was hard-hearted. "This is the boy I told you about," Mr. Brownlow said to his friend. "So, this is the boy," said Mr. Grimwig with a sharp look at Oliver. "How are you, boy?" "Much better now, thank you, sir." Mr. Brownlow then asked Oliver to go downstairs and tell Mrs. Badwin that they were ready for tea. When Oliver had gone, he asked his friend, "He is a nice looking boy, is not he?" "Well, he looks all right, but you never know. I should not trust him after all. You don't really know him. He may be telling lies. I should not be surprised if he was. I am sure he is not well. We shall see." "Does he remind you of anybody?" "Well, yes, he does. Our old friend Leaford, who died in Rome. That was 10 or 11 years ago, was not it?" Before Mr. Brownlow could answer, Mrs. Badwin came in with the tea. Oliver followed her, carrying a package of books. "The boy from the bookshop has just brought these," she told Mr. Brownlow, taking the parcel from Oliver. "Is the boy still there?" "He is gone, sir." "I am sorry. I have some books for his to take back, and I wanted to pay him for these." "Send Oliver with the books," Mr. Grimwig said suddenly. "Yes, do let me take them, please, sir," said Oliver eagerly. "I will run all the way there." Mr. Brownlow hesitated. Then a look from Mr. Grimwig made him say, "Yes, you shall go. The books are on the table beside my bed. Fetch them here." Oliver was delighted. He fetched the books. "Now," Mr. Brownlow told him, "you must say that you have brought these books back and that you have come to pay the money. I own £4.10. Here's a £5 note. There will be 10 shillings change." "I won't be 10 minutes, sir," said Oliver. He put the money carefully in his pocket. He placed the books under his arm. Then, with a respectful bow, he hurried off. "Let me see. He will be back in 20 minutes for certain," said Mr. Brownlow. He took out his watch and placed it on the table. "It will be dark by then. Do you really expect him to come bag? Asked Mr. Grimwig. Yes, don't you? Mr. Brownlow said with a smile. No, I do not. The boy has a new suit on his back. He has some valuable books under his arm and he has a £5 note in his pocket. He won't come back. He will join his old friends in the gang and he will laugh at you. If that boy come back, I will eat my hat. Yes, sir, I will eat my hat. With these words, Mr. Grimwig drew his chair nearer the table. There the two friends sat, with the watch in front of them. It grew dark, but they still sat there waiting. They waited and waited, but Oliver did not come back. Meanwhile, Oliver was hurrying toward the bookshop. He was happy as never before. How wonderful life had become for him. How kind and good Mr. Brownlow was and dear Mrs. Badwin. Oliver's happy thoughts were suddenly interrupted. A young woman suddenly shouted, "Oh, my brother, my dear little Oliver!" She threw her arms around him and held him fast. Oliver struggled to get free. "Let me go," he carried. Then he saw the woman's face. "Why, it's Nancy. You see, he knows me," the woman said to some passers-by who had stopped to stare. "What's he done?" a man asked. "He ran away from home a month ago," Nancy told him. "He's been living with a gang of thieves. His poor mother, her heart's broken." "Go home, you watch," a woman shouted. "Go home to your poor mother." "It's not true," poor Oliver cried. "What's all this about?" cried a big, strong fellow coming forward with his dog. "Why, it's young Oliver. Come home to your mother, you little devil. Come on." "No, no," cried Oliver, struggling hard to get free. "Where did you get those books?" "You stole them, did not you?" Six asked. So saying, he snatched the books from Oliver and hit him hard on the head. Poor Oliver could struggle no longer. His strength suddenly left him. Bill, sick, and Nancy dragged the boy through some dark and dirty streets. At last they come to a house which appeared to be empty. "Too late," said the notice on the door. Six looked carefully around before he opened the door. They dragged Oliver along a dark passage into a back room. There, Fagin was waiting with the artful Dodger and Charlie Bats.